Okay, folks. So, anytime I do a live feed, looks like we got one person in the chat or in the live feed. We'll just give it a few minutes here, see if we get some more folks in. My main reason for coming on today is I've been sick home for a week now with COVID, and I'm just starting to feel a little better today. But I wanted to come on. Normally, I would have had a brand new video release for some of the new Nubeo watches I got in the mail. But unfortunately, sometimes Nubeo, I don't know if they kind of coordinated or whatnot, but it seems like sometimes when they send me a watch or several watches, sometimes they'll suddenly have a sale. And I never know that they're having a sale until I actually just see it on their website randomly. So that kind of sucks because I want you guys to be able to take advantage of a sale when I do a video, right? So sometimes I'll put up a Nubeo, and like with any watch company, there's a markup with everything. And Nubeo, they have a pretty high retail price, kind of like what Invicta does, and then they drastically put them on sale. Nubeo's been getting a lot of great reviews lately, and yeah, I've been really happy with the brand, and really that can be so with anything Dartmouth related. And let's face it, I mean, it's the same story anytime I do a video. When I review watches, I'm not overly critical. So the things that you might see under a jeweler's loop, I could really care less about. So that's why, for some folks who watch me, who maybe are luxury watch fanatics, and I call them fanatics because I think you kind of have to be a little bit fanatical to worry about things you can't actually see with the naked eye. But it always comes back to that whole story where they make a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to quality, right? And I'll tell you that most of the watch brands that you out there that you are going to spend your money on, they're fantastic quality. There's not a lot of what they call shitters out there, kind of a phrase coined by like Archie Luxury. Although that's can be kind of comical to watch channels like that. It's he may be being serious, but unfortunately, what you guys, or unfortunately, if you have a brain in your head and you actually have some experience with looking at different watch brands and holding them in your hand, feeling them, and I don't even necessarily even mean wearing them, just like going into a jewelry store and picking up watches and holding them in your hands and feeling them, you will really begin to realize that the difference is that a lot of folks like on YouTube really talk about oh, the quality is amazing with luxury brands compared to affordable watches. You'll really start to, if you have a brain in your head and you have the ability to reason and use critical thinking, you'll realize that they do make a mountain out of a molehill. Now, again, I'm not saying go take a Nubeo watch and go take a Rolex and put it under macro lens, that you're not going to see maybe a difference in finishing, right? But I say I don't know because I've never done that. There are channels, some really cool channels that actually put watches under macro lens or under like 200, 300 times magnification, but they never do that with like an affordable watch. It's always like the high end luxury stuff. And what they're doing is kind of nitpicking it. So they're comparing it to like other super high end luxury watches. But I want to see what a $99 watch looks like. Let's see, is there really a difference under macro lens, to that extreme? I don't think there's going to be much, to be honest with you, but we can't confirm or deny that. What I can tell you with using your hands, using your eyes, using your brain, if you have one, that when we compare watches like Nubeo, like Invicta, yes, there are brands out there if you get on Amazon that are in that $20, $30 price range. And I always say this, I repeat myself, you're using price to determine quality isn't really fair because I've seen watches that cost $5,000 that I can say, all right, well, this is no nicer than my $150 Pro Diver, right? Or $150 reserve level Invicta. But there are those level of Invicta watches you get super entry level, 30 to, again, hate using price because you have to kind of take each watch as it comes. You can't really just say, oh, well, it's $30, so this watch isn't going to be of that good quality, right? You just really have to kind of get it in your hands and feel it. And you are going to buy some Invicta watches that there are some that I wouldn't buy because I know this isn't the quality I'm getting. This isn't the quality I'm looking for with this watch, right? But for the most part, if you buy reserve level or if you buy, let's say, I mean, Aragon, most of their watches are kind of on that level of quality I look for. Same thing with Nubeo. I haven't picked up any Nubeo watches where I say, all right, this is one of their really entry level watches. This is where we're losing quality. And I can only feel that like with some folks who maybe Invicta gets a lot. We all know it. Invicta gets a lot of disrespect in the watch community just because of the design, because of the style. And if somebody doesn't like it cosmetically, they'll just cut it to pieces, even if it's a great quality product, right? So Nubeo is kind of one of those watches that doesn't get kind of the brand hate that Invicta gets, but there's really no reason why they shouldn't. If people are going to hate on Invicta for the way that it looks, then Nubeo is an over the top, really unique, exotic looking watch. It's a watch that's going to get you noticed. I saw somebody comment. Yeah, yeah. I Forgive me. I've been in bed. I'm a little loopy, but I've seen people comment recently about how like if you buy a Rolex, like that's the watch that's going to get noticed, and that's the watch that people are going to look at you and say you're sophisticated. It's like, dude, that you must be not. You probably never worn a watch in your life to even make that statement. Most people don't. Of all the homage watches I had that look like Rolex, none of them. Even when I'm wearing like my one of my fake Rolex watches companies have sent me over the years, like nobody ever notices it. Nobody ever says anything. They always say something about the Invicta or the Nubeo. They're drawn to that uniqueness. So with that being said, just know that when you buy a watch, whatever brand you buy, most watches out there are exceptional quality. Another guy commented the other day. He said, I took my steel dive into my watch shop and he says, oh, this has got to be Swiss made. The guy didn't know anything about the brand, and guy's like, no, this is like a $99 watch, and they were just blown away. And so there's just a kind of another example of people who don't, even if you're a professional watch repair guy, right? You don't. People who repair watches aren't necessarily fanatical about watches. They're not necessarily people who collect watches. It's a business, and that's what they do. And so they're not going to be familiar. Unless you're really fanatical about collecting, they're not going to necessarily know every brand. But it's interesting when they picked it up, they thought this $99 Chinese watch had to have been Swiss because they're amazed at the quality. And so that's just kind of what you get nowadays. We're not living in the 80s anymore, and when a lot of these watch snobs, these guys who I did a video not that long ago on, it was one of the other decent channels out there. They just changed its name. It was like, the hell was it? Um, Simucon. He does, and Trap Vision. Those guys do kind of like these live feeds, which are pretty cool. They get like other guys who are a lot of smaller channels. I haven't seen anybody really big time on there, but it's kind of nice to listen to the perspective of different people. And he does get people on there who are luxury watch, what I would call snobs, right? And he had one guy on there actually did a rebuttal video on there, and I had commented just during that feed. And this is kind of the example of what I'm talking about. They were talking about how it's the Invicta lovers that get their feathers ruffled, right? And then one of the other gentlemen on the channel said that on the feed said I think it's more of the watch snobs or one more of the luxury watch guys, right? And it's just interesting because they had a luxury watch guy on there, and he's the one who stated about the people like the affordable Invictas getting their feathers ruffled. But then I made one comment about luxury watches being nothing more than markup and paying for the name, and his feathers just got ruffled. It was just a perfect example of how these guys who spend thousands of dollars on a watch, it doesn't compute in their mind that you can get amazing quality for a lot less, and they have to rationalize that price because they don't want to really believe that you're paying for the name. Now, granted, there are very complicated, no pun intended, movements out there. Very complicated movements, a lot of hand, hand labor and handmade stuff. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate that. And I'm not saying that any of these brands out there are not horologically significant. Absolutely. I like all those brands, even though I'm not a fan of luxury brands, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate them. But I'm always going to be the guy who says, hey, can I get a homage watch excuse me, for less? Because if I want that look, I'm just not willing to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for a watch that ultimately, in my heart, I know at the end of the day isn't all that much better than your $99 steel dive or your $400 Nubeo or whatever the price may be. So I will never rationalize that cost. It doesn't mean you shouldn't. It always means buy what you like, but don't be delusional about it that there isn't a lot of difference in the price. And so it was just interesting. It's kind of like the common reaction to people who kind of put down luxury brands. And I'm not even putting them down. I'm just stating that these people who collect these luxury watches were part of this cult-like group. They have to rationalize the price, and they just don't want to face the fact that they're paying for markup, name and markup. Again, I'm not saying it's only that, but I mean that's a huge part of it. A huge part of it. And I mean, if you're paying $20,000 for a Rolex, you really think that watch costs $19,000 to make, 18. Realistically, that watch, there's a lot of machines involved in the manufacturing, everything nowadays. So that guys have speculated that watch really didn't cost about $800 to manufacture. So I don't know that. I can't confirm or deny that. But again, let's not pretend that markup isn't a huge part of watches. Okay. Now, the reason coming on here is just because, again, Nubeo's released some new watches, and they don't tell me about them. We had a huge month. When I say me, I meant, well, I guess we, because my links are affiliate links. So we killed it last month with Nubeo, and then all of a sudden it just kind of dropped off. I think because they had some really great sales on a lot of their Magellans, and you'll see a lot of the watch they have on their site right now are actually out of stock. So you have to kind of like bookmark my link, if you will. I appreciate that. If you find value in the channel and you find value in my recommendations, bookmark it and keep checking back. I do get commission on that sale. If you hate my guts and just want to buy the watch regardless, then I can't stop you from not using my bookmark, but I appreciate if you do. There's a Fat Cat 15 coupon code as well. Usually you can use that on sales, but I've heard lately that depending on the sale, sometimes Nubeo does like a 50% off. That code may or may not work. So just kind of keep that in mind. But let's talk about. I have a few Nubeos here. I don't. One of the ones I don't have. I didn't bust out because I've reviewed it before in a different color. But it's not on sale right now. So that's the Ventana. I think if you've been following me for a while, a couple other influencers out there have reviewed that watch. Very simple, very clean. I got it in the magma red. Some guy the other day commented that it's like the perfect death. I'm not really a forgive me if I'm wrong in saying this, but I'm not a Marvel or kind of cartoon kind of guy. But I do think Deathpool is a pretty good movie. If they do another one, I'll definitely watch it. But this watch, he says, like a Deathpool watch. It's got that same color red case. It's just blood red. I call it like a vampire watch, but awesome looking. Dig it, love it. So let's talk about what we got today. So I want to jump right into this newer model. I have two of these. This is on sale right now, and the price is great. And I'm going to start off just knock it right out of the park right off the bat. This one is their Damascus face. They say Damascus steel is the actual name of this watch. Um, it's called the Curiosity Evolution Automatic. Let me just click the link here. This sucker's on sale. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. $329. I mean, this is awesome. It is an automatic, and I've said many times, Nubeo doesn't list the actual movement, but they did provide me a list the other day with a lot of the movements for a lot of their watches. And I don't have it in front of me right now, and I can kind of let me see if I can pull it up real quick here, because I was actually surprised that a lot of their watches I kind of thought like maybe they were using some really kind of off-branded Montrese. So what up, King? What's up, man? Um, I apologize, I'm doing multitasking here, but he I was surprised there was a lot of Miyotas there. So, which is, I mean, anybody who's concerned with the brand name of a movement, some folks won't buy a Seagull. I could care less about, I mean, a Seagull's a great movement. Let's remember, these aren't NASA space shuttles. These aren't like Ferraris. There's not a lot of parts in a watch. Granted, there are parts. Don't be wrong. It's still complicated. Again, no pun intended, but it's not insane. What's up, Mr. Urban? What is up? Just going over some new Nubeo watches, and they're on sale right now. So I want to hit you guys with them. And hope that anybody who watches who or finds this video after the fact who are looking for Nubeo might take advantage of the sale. So I'm just trying to find the movement on these because it was something I need to add to each one of the videos I've already done. Because a lot of folks, have said, "Hey, I dig the watch brand. Totally like the design. Totally like what you're saying. Looks like it's got good quality, but without knowing the movement, I'm not going to buy it, right?" So I know. Let me just see here. Nope, that's the new Tourbillon coming, the newest Nubeo. Let's see if I can find this. I should have saved it right when she sent it. All right, here we go. So I do have. Let me see if this new watch one we're talking about right now. And again, the Curiosity Damascus steel. Look at that. If any of you are not familiar with Damascus steel, it's actually it's I believe it's steel, a certain specific type of steel that's been kind of, I believe, layered to get something very strong, get that kind of classic Damascus appearance. It's very, I think, sexy, especially when you get like knives that are done with Damascus. Although be careful out there when you do buy like knives, it may be just like a printed Damascus type of steel where it's not actually Damascus. Now on this, I can't speak whether this is or isn't real Damascus. I'm going to kind of lean and say that this I'm going to lean on the side of caution and say this is like a Damascus print. It's not actually real Damascus, but I don't know. But you definitely get the look, which is pretty cool because I don't know any other watch company that is doing anything that looks like that. And I'll come back to this in just a second. Let me just see if the movement is actually on here. Um, let's see here. Give me 1 second, folks. This is model number NB6066. Let's see if it's on here. 6066. All right, so this one is listed on here. This one is all right. So this one here, per their list, I don't know why they don't add this to the site, but it's powered by the NH38. So one of those Seiko automatic movements. That the NH35 is one we're all familiar with. Put in most, or I shouldn't say most, but many different micro brand watches out there. A lot of the ones that you see popping up, whether it be on AliExpress, Amazon, tons of homage watches use the NH35, the NH38, excuse me. I'm not really sure what the main difference is. I think it might have to do with the location of the balance wheel and maybe being an open heart. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more, but there you go. So I mean, this is going to check a lot of the boxes for many folks. We have based on their spec sheet, we have. Let's see. Let me just go to the dial material here. Let me just find the exact one. This is kind of a difficult to read spreadsheet. 6066 um, 33. Excuse me. So 606633. Let me make sure this is on here. All right, so we do have a sapphire lens, so that's a checkbox for many folks. Again, Nubeo, they may not list that on their website. I wish they would. I've been harping on for so long to get this information on there, but they don't. They haven't. So from now on, I'll make sure I put this information with a little bit of a disclaimer in the description of the videos. I don't want to get in trouble for saying something that I can't confirm this information. Just like anybody ordering a watch from anywhere can't really confirm that information, but we trust the manufacturer to provide us with the correct information. With that being said, this one, based on Nubeo's information, has a 200-meter water resistance. It's an NH38 automatic movement, a sapphire lens, and they say that the face is, or the dial, excuse me. They say Damascus, but so it does say dial material Damascus, where some of the other ones say brass or say abalone. This may very well be real Damascus steel in the face. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm really glad that they provided this list to me finally, and I will update once I'm feeling better. And again, just so you guys know, it's going to be a little bit shorter video today. I just want that to pop on here. I'm bored laying in bed all day long. And you can probably hear it in my voice. So I feel like crap. But I wanted to get on real quick so you guys can take advantage of the sale. So again, Damascus steel. What's really cool about this too is if you go to I'm going to put the link in here right now. Again, this is a generic link to Nubeo. This is my link. That cookie is good for like 30 days, I believe. So, but that link right here will take you to the main page. Just filter by newest watches, and you'll see us pop up. And there's a night shot where the lume on this is, of course, on the hands, but it's all around this kind of I don't know if it's carbon fiber or what do they actually say here? They say it's a I just had this. No, I don't think it's carbon fiber. It's like some kind of it's like a carbon. It's not carbon fiber like what you think of normally, like that lattice and that weave pattern, but it is carbon. And so we have a carbon bezel that's been infused with lume. So it's pretty cool looking. I haven't tested this yet. Again, I just got these watches and I haven't really had any time to even mess around with it. Oh, what up, Robert? Yeah, no, man, I still feel like crap. But I just wanted to pop on here and share some of these watches real quick. There's only so many American Chopper shows I can watch laying in bed. So hopefully get back to work here. I don't know, maybe midweek. I don't know. I feel like crap still, but I have to kind of laying around bed for a week isn't healthy either. So you gotta want to move around a little, then I'll go back. But Robert was super generous. I just want to give Robert a shout out. And always putting watch aside for a second. It's always amazing to me the generosity of people in this world where I'm not honestly super like like very generous with like my family and like doing things and I'm always there for people I care about, but my circle's very small. And Robert actually contributed like $100. Robert, I hope that's okay that I'm saying that, but he gifted me $100 on the I think super chat because I'm missing work, right? And so like that's like I mean I really appreciate that, Robert. Like I expect anybody to do that. I never expect anybody to do that kind of stuff, and I'm always amazed at the generosity of people. So a big shout out to Robert, man. That's it seems like nowadays it seems like all these these chicks create OnlyFans, and I swear to God, I've never been to an OnlyFans website, but I've heard about all these chicks like becoming millionaires by like just demeaning themselves, and the guys like just paying money nonstop for like this ridiculous stuff. And there's a couple of great YouTube channels. I get them one guy I watch where he kind of like talks about society and how people are degenerates nowadays, and it's just interesting to watch where people will throw their money and stuff like that. But it's like that for me, somebody to tip me, that very rarely happens. And so I just again I want to thank Robert. Could have came along at a better time, man, especially missing work. So thank you. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the watches. So again, 48 millimeter case diameter. We have stainless steel. Again, that NH38. Let me just catch up on comments too here. So you guys know a lot of folks are kind of listening to this almost like a podcast. We'll come back. I want to talk a little bit more about this. But Mr. Urban just said almost time for winter season. Be looking at the jacket videos. Yes, sir. I know I'm starting to look. I saw there's a pleather jacket that I saw on eBay after the Fast and the Furious or Furious Fast X movie. Jason Momoa, cool as fuck. He's rocking a Python jacket. Now this is a real Python jacket. If you want to get genuine Python, look at about $1,000. One day I will, guaranteed. But there is a polyurethane jacket, and there's also printed real leather, about the $100 price range. And I found one on eBay that's pretty close to the way that one looks. I'm probably going to get it. It's pretty dope. And then there's a bronze leather jacket. It's an alligator or crocodile he wore in the end of the movie, and that bronze leather is very hard to find. I should have jumped on it when I had the chance. There's a company I ordered jackets from, or I've ordered from out of Italy. They hand make the jackets, and that's my embossed goat skin crocodile jacket. And that one there I got for like 200 back in the day. And now like the bronze version of that is so sick. It's more of like it's not a Brando style, it's more of a motorcycle jacket. And dude, it is sick. I want it, but it's like $600. And I'm just like, that's where I'm kind of like, I got enough jackets. I don't need to spend $600 on a jacket. But it's pretty badass. Let me know if just drop me an email if you want to check them out. It's awesome. So let me catch up here. And he also was watching your gun videos. Andre, I think I'm saying that right. H35 or 4R35 is a date version. H36 is a day date. 38 4R38 is a no date version, usually skeletonized. Well, that would make sense. Good information because it does have an open heart. And what I like about this particular model is that you probably can't see it here, but let me just move the hands out of the way here. They've put this huge kind of like floating jewel over the top. Now, I don't know if this is like garnet or a gemstone of some sort, but even if it's just like a glass jewel, like it looks badass, and it really, I don't know, just really pops. I'm sorry you guys can't see that too clear there. My These webcams are supposed to be HD, and they sure don't look HD. Guess I have to re-review this because it was supposed to be HD. But pretty badass watch, totally good. I have another variation watch as well, but good stuff. Really good information. Thank you for dropping that comment there, Andre. I think Andre. Bart simply just said you look like you lost some weight. I like your slim down look. Not really, man. But oh well, I'm not sure when you last watched. Yeah, I've lost weight over like the last like 4 years, I think. Definitely, I feel like a different person. I feel like I look like a different person. My ID, I look like really kind of bloated. And honestly, that was because I drank a lot of alcohol. Like I drank for a very long time. I liked my beer, and that stuff just kind of catches up with you. So I quit drinking 4 years ago, and I just got really into working out, and so that's where the changes happened. But as far as if you mean losing weight in the last like week, I am sick. So got the COVID, unfortunately, and so I haven't been eating. I haven't worked out, and this is like coming on 2 weeks, and I feel it. So yeah, I definitely probably dehydrated and definitely. But as far as the weight, like I was right around 172 as of 2 weeks ago, and I'm still right around 170. So I'm not sure if you're referring to a long time ago, but hey man, slimming down is always good. I would slim down to 160 if I could, but that would take definitely a more of a drastic calorie cut. But we'll see. We'll see when we get closer to summer. We'll see. All right, so back to the watches. So, and Robert just said, thanks, Fat Kid. No problem for mentioning the amount. Hopefully back to 100% soon. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So we got that watch in the price on this. This is the main reason I wanted to pop on here. 329 right now. So all 316 stainless steel. I don't know. This is where Nubeo throws these deals out there, and they have their price point, which is 1,500 on this watch when it's not on sale. And then rather than just doing like a little bit off, they just like slash the price. It's really odd to me because this is like a brand new model. So take advantage while you can. This is a pretty badass watch. Got that curved domed crystal a carbon bezel, fold over safety clasp on the crown, screw down crown, Seiko driven H38. I mean, the Damascus steel face, you can't go wrong with this watch. It's badass, super unique. All right, so the other variation of that watch, and I'm gonna probably get the abalone one. This one is on, I believe it's silicone or rubber. I'm gonna go to their link right now. This is a cool one too, but this is a watch that is definitely a candidate for a gold bracelet. Again, same carbon bezel, same watch, but this one here has got a carbon face, and so the carbon's almost infused with like some kind of gold of some sort. It might be brass, but it looks like it's like something like gold, and it looks badass. It almost has like a very planetary look, right? It just looks like something like you'd see out in space. So, and again, you guys, you're gonna get the best image I can show you here. But I am gonna probably get my hands on a Aragon Shark Mesh Gold brush strap for this or bracelet, and that will just really kick this watch over. This is one I wish Nubeo did on bracelet, but still very cool watch even on that strap. And you can change it up, of course, but black I think looks best on this. It is a 24 millimeter silicone strap. Again, NH38 movement on this one. Andre just said the NH34 is a GMT version. The 4R movement family designed by Seiko and is a designation for their watches, while the NH is the export version for third-party watch brands. I think I've heard that before as well. Like you won't find the NH series. I believe you will find the NH series in Seikos. They have their different version, but it's the same movement. It's just branded as I guess, a resellable movement that's for other third-party brands, like you mentioned. So that's pretty cool. But still, you're getting that quality, right? And that's what most people are concerned with. Next watch here, I've already featured this. This is not on sale, but this is a badass tourbillon. I am getting in the mail next couple weeks here their newest tourbillon done in carbon black, and that one is the supermassive. They call it the supermassive tourbillon. I guess supermassive is the name. This one here is I forget which one this one is, but this is a tourbillon. So pretty cool. I know it's hard to see in the video here, but it is a hand wind only. Love this version just because the movement's done all skeletonized, exhibition window in the case back, and you can see the whole movement. And it really just pops against that black. They do have different colors, but I just kind of thought the black really kind of highlighted the movement. So very cool looking watch. This one I shared the other day. This is not a Nubeo, but if you're interested in an awesome Panerai homage, definitely check out Pagani Design. But you'll have to order this homage Panerai bracelet. I got off AliExpress for 17 bucks. It's amazing. Quality is on point. Pretty incredible. And it really, this is what Pagani should have did. They should have had these bracelets on their watches rather than just sending it out on like kind of like a canvas. But to each their own. That might be what you're into, but still a badass watch. And the other watch Nubeo sent me, this one here is one that I reviewed in the past. This is just their red variation here. And this one here is the called Deep Red the Apollo. And so this one is not on sale right now. This one's still 910, but again, keep checking back, keep watching. The one that's on sale right now is the one I just showed you, whether it's a gold variation or Damascus, 329 for any of the Curiosity Evolution automatics. So that's an incredible price for that. Try to use my coupon FATCAT15, get a little bit more off it. But I think arguably the abalone and the Damascus, man, they're all pretty nice, but they do make it in the, again, Damascus, the abalone. They do make a carbon eclipse, which is all carbon face, pretty cool looking. And again, the gold on carbon I showed you. Then they make a all black kind of black carbon with a blue strap and black case. So pretty awesome looking watch. This one here, deep red. This is made to look like this is themed after the Apollo, and this is made to look like the surface of the moon. You probably can't see it by the video, but there's all kinds of craters all over the bezel, and of course all over the face. Very cool looking watch. In that blood red, I don't know what it is about the blood red. Just been really digging this color combination. And this, honestly, one of the first watches I got is a Invicta Pro Diver in this color that James Perez actually bought me for Christmas last year. So that's pretty awesome. Now it seems like once I got that watch, like Nubeo started creating a whole bunch of this blood red, deep maroon, kind of like, again, we'll call it the Deadpool kind of watch, without actually saying Deadpool on it, right? Like it's not actually themed, but pretty badass looking. But arguably, I think my favorite watch of the ones that they sent me is definitely going to be this one here with that Damascus face. I mean, this watch really checks all the boxes for many folks looking to add a watch to their collection. So Nubeo's got a whole ton, but right now, again, a lot of their watches are sold out. You might find a few of their Ventanas. You might find some of their Magellans, which I think is really the favorite. I think my favorite model. But just check it out. Keep checking for the price, and stay tuned for the carbon black super massive tourbillon. That one's pretty cool. Definitely look forward to getting my hands on that. They have the tourbillon movement right in the middle of the watch. So I know Aragon's done a few things like that. I think one of their new tourbillons also has that right in the middle. As far as the tourbillon movement on that particular watch, just so you guys know, in case you're in the market for that, is actually, let's see what they state here. Let me consult my list here. It is, again, it's got to check all the boxes too. Sapphire lens, tourbillon movement, screw down crown, 316 stainless steel, fold over clasp. It is a milled clasp, not a stamped clasp. And it is, so the movement here is called a PTS 3JZ0E. Now, I'm not familiar with that movement at all, but what I have found is that a lot of the movements you're going to find nowadays, I did another review on the Age Locker tourbillon, and I don't remember exactly which movement. It's like a Chinese branded tourbillon movement, and a lot of folks, even producer Michael, just did a video where one of his employees, I think his cameraman, picked up like $1,000 tourbillon, and of course Michael's loaded, so he ended up picking up a few of those watches. He ended up getting the platinum version, which was like $4,000. Platinum and diamonds, hey, great. Ultimately, some folks who are concerned with the value of your watch, naturally, and I'll totally agree when it comes to watch brands. if you're looking to buy a watch and you think that you are ever going to sell it, everything has value. It just depends on how much value, right? I have watches that are Invictas that I bought for like 150 bucks, ended up selling for like three. I have some older, not so much anymore, but Androids and Aragon watches that they made them. They were limited, and once they stopped making them, there's still demand for them. So you can still make some money and make a profit off any brand watch if there's a demand for it and supply is low. But with that being said, naturally, and I totally agree that some folks will say, "Oh man, you buy a Rolex, you're buying an investment." I agree. The odds of you losing less money with a watch brand like Rolex or Omega, absolutely. Like if that's something you're really concerned with, then that's a much safer bet to buy a Rolex over an Invicta or a Nubeo or any affordable brand. But just don't get it twisted. Just because you spend that money on a Rolex, it does not mean that you are guaranteed to make a profit or that watch will appreciate. Absolutely, some do, sure, guaranteed. Some do, but that's not to say that every single, and people who say that don't have any understanding of like basic economics, right? Just basic, like I I can't stress to you guys enough that there's nothing guaranteed in life. Like, yes, if you buy a house, there's a good chance that your house is going to appreciate. But there's houses all over the country that you people can't even sell. So it really just it comes down to like location, 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 supply and demand. And watches is really no different. You can buy a watch and you may profit on that and make money. But let's face it, watches to me are really meant to be worn for fun, and it's an accessory. Now that if you buy watches for a different reason, that's okay. But again, it's never going to be something I'm buying a watch for. I buy a watch because I like it, because I get a lot of enjoyment out of checking out a new watch. And I'm fortunate to have a YouTube channel where companies want to work with me, whether it's Pagani Design or except Invicta. But Nubeo, I mean, it's been super generous and it's been great. We have a great business relationship going. And it feeds my addiction, right? It feeds me being able to get more watches, wear them, have fun with them. And that's to me what it's really all about is with watch collecting. But that doesn't mean it should be if you want to make watch collecting a business, that's something I can't really relate to, and that's not something I'm interested in doing. I think there's other things if you want to invest your money in that's a lot safer than watches. And again, I encourage anybody who thinks that you can just flip a Rolex and make money. Sure, if you get it low enough, but that can be said with anything. You get a Nubeo price low enough, and it's something that people are really desiring, like you can throw it on eBay and flip it. Like Invicta, same thing. I've done it. But you're not gonna. It's just I think if you're really concerned with a watch and losing money and you want to make sure you get your money out of it, then I just don't. You're safer with a Rolex for sure, but then that doesn't mean wear it, beat the hell out of it, scratch it up. Remember, these things are meant to be worn, and don't think that you're going to go spend 20 grand on a Submariner and then turn around and beat on it for 5 years and scratch it all up. And even if you take care of it, you're going to scratch it up and then expect to like go make 5 grand off it. Like I have to really question your ability to reason here if you think that. If you do, more power to you. Maybe you got that one model or that super desirable model. But I've watched a few of the experts' videos lately on YouTube. I think Jenny L, I think your name, talking about like 5 different Rolex models that are you can pick up for less than retail. So, I mean, these are the experts talking. So, I definitely consider her more of an expert than me when it comes to those brand watches. I don't know really anything about, what they sell for. All I know is my quick eBay searches, and I can see what things are going for. So, but Nubeo branding is great, and I think that if you guys ever have a question about a watch or about whether what the quality's like, most of the time you're gonna get the same answer from me. There's so many great watches out there for great price points that you're pretty safe. And now if you're really concerned with spending like 150 bucks, 200 bucks, I totally get that. Some folks, everybody comes from different financial areas, and that might be a lot of money for you. I mean, I think $100 is $100, right? So I mean, it's not something I want to piss away. I wouldn't want to buy something really cheap, but I can assure you that if you were to go into like a brick and mortar store and buy like some of your like a Guess watch, and there's nothing wrong with Guess. Don't get me wrong, I have. I believe I have a guest watch. Fossil brands like that. That it's a certain level of quality with those watches. You're just not going to get with those brands when you compare it to like Invicta or Aragon or Nubeo. There is a difference that you can actually feel. Just the the thickness of the metal, the way things are kind of put together, but it doesn't make them bad watches. It just means, but I wouldn't overpay for them. Just like a lot of folks will ask me, hey, do you have a Nixon watch? And I'm like, no, and I probably won't get one because I just know for what you're going to pay for a Nixon watch, I know you can just get a lot more bang for your buck for a watch that's like that, that's big and bold and stylish. That's subjective, but you can get a much bigger, bolder watch, which is what Nixon's really trying to do with their 5130, I think it is, or 51 something. It's a 51 millimeter watch. There's just too many options with Invicta for me to spend. They were going for like $500-600 if you were going to Zoomies or something. So, but you can just get them now around 250, I think, on eBay. But even 250, there's that watch is, and that watch isn't going to be as nice as Nubeo. When you spend 320, you're getting a heck of a lot more for your money. So, but yeah, but again, I'm gonna pop the link in here again for anybody who pops in after the chat, and I'm hoping that this video will show up. And they usually do. People come back and watch this stuff, after the video is already closed down or the live feed's over. Use the link I'll put in the description as well, and check out the brand new Nubeo. Now, I'll continue on a little bit more here. Feel free while I'm talking to ask any kind of questions if you have them. Definitely stay tuned for the Supermassive Tourbillon. Price on this $4,800. 3120 is what it's on sale for now. I don't know how many of these Nubeo sells to that price point. When you start getting involved in thousands, you will start to you're starting to get more of a demanding watch buyer. So I think that a watch like this, I think it's pretty safe to say that, and I've seen other brands. There was another guy on Instagram the other day talking about, I think it was one of the guys from Shark Tank showing off the Aventi brand. And I was looking at some of the specs. So they're tourbillons and they're in that $2,200 price point. And I can say that, I did reach out and I would love to get my hands on one, but, I feel pretty confident that watch for $2,200 isn't going to be any nicer than this Nubeo, right? But I think, though, for the Chinese kind of off-branded tourbillon movements that you're going to find in a lot of brands right now coming up with tourbillons, because prior to these like Chinese tourbillons, you couldn't get a tourbillon for like $3,000. So now that there more companies are making, and the reason why they're able to make these because it's getting easier to make, right? It's not super complex anymore. They can reverse engineer things and make a killer tourbillon. So with that being said, kind of a good rule of thumb for those Chinese off-branded tourbillon watches is going to be in that $1,000 to I'd say $2,500 price range. I think Nubeo will probably put this one on sale. I think you're going to see this under $3,000. I think when you're getting a tourbillon under that, I think $2,500 price point, I think is more realistic to what other watches are selling for. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy it. There's many watches out there people spend thousands on that have movements that you can find in Invicta. I shit you not. I have we won't say his name here because I'm not going to disclose too much, but one of our usual suspects, one of our subscribers, is he's very much involved in the movements and watches and stuff, and he's sharing a lot of information with me about watch brands and what you're getting and what these high end brands are using for movements. And I'm telling you, there are many high end brands out there using watch movements by that Invicta use, Ronda movements. So understand that. Just kind of keep that in mind anytime you're looking at a watch. Just kind of weigh, what you're actually paying for. But again, always buy what you like and buy what makes you happy. If that is a Rolex or an Omega or a Seiko or whatever brand, buy it, enjoy it. The only person that really has to like it is you. And I think anytime you worry about what females like, I understand if you're married and you care about somebody and you have somebody you love, you want to take their opinions in consideration. Ultimately, you are men. You are grown men, and grown men should wear what you like. You can still love your woman and be a good person and a good husband or boyfriend without having to appease every single thing that the little lady likes. You should buy something because you like it. I mean, straight up. I mean, it shouldn't be about impressing anybody else. Mr. Urban just said he'll be honest that Rolex has never looked that good. Rolex, I mean, arguably, I think is not. I don't think it's a bad looking watch, but I think it's just a regular plain old watch, right? I don't think there's anything really over the top unique about it. It doesn't. I still wear tons of homage watches, right? But let's face it. I mean, Rolex has got such a presence in the watch world that anytime a watch even remotely resembles a Rolex, people say it's a copy or homage. So, and that's not really the case. What's so special about it? It's a round watch with a rotating bezel. There's nothing really unique about it. It's just been around forever. But what is unique about it is that they do everything in house, like you guys know. But they really control their brand from start to finish, whether that's handmade, now maybe partially handmade, machine made, whatever the case may be, there is an element of, and I don't want to say this in thinking that you buy one and you're not going to have any problems with it, but there is an element of, I would, if I had to make a wager on which watch is going to be more reliable, which watch could you potentially have an issue with, Invicta brand or Rolex, I'd probably put my money on the fact that there's better quality control with the Rolex. But it doesn't mean, with that being said, that you're going to buy any of these other brands, and then it shouldn't be like a seed planted for like worry, or for people do that in sales all the time. They'll plant the seed of concern along the conversation, and then at the end of the conversation, come back with, "Oh, remember I told you about that breaking down? Well, you don't have to worry about that. I'll tell you about that later." And then you come back to later, you've planted the seed in somebody's mind that ooh, these things do break. I'm worried about that. Back of your mind, oh, now we have an extended warranty. And, that's kind of how like sales works in a lot of cases. And so, ooh, got some underbed storage coming my way. I'm running out of room with all the watch boxes. I had to buy some underbed storage. So yeah, but I mean, again, always buy it makes you happy. I wear the Rolex homage watches all the time, probably more than my Invictas a lot of times nowadays. That's mainly just because when I want to wear something big and flashy, I got to kind of be going out or going somewhere. That's when I'll rock something like the Nubeos. But if I'm just kind of lounging around, working in the garage or even working out a lot of times, I usually won't wear a watch, but I'll wear the smaller ones. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, most folks, I've never been complimented. Actually, that's not true. I did get one compliment one time on my rainbow iced out burst cigar. I think James bought that watch from me, and I only sold it because I ended up getting a Duxo that was exactly like it with the rainbow bezel. I didn't need it anymore, so I sold it to James. And that watch did actually in Walmart. The girl's like, "Ooh, Rolex," and I was like, "No, it's not a Rolex." But it was interesting that watch did pull a compliment, whereas I think it's the only compliment I've ever had on any of those smaller watches. Invicta all day long, Aragon all day long, Nubeo all the time. People are like, "Ooh, what is that? It's huge." Because it's so big and so noticeable, and they're just the different finishes and colors. People just it's unique, and people want to know more about it. So, but yeah, I get it though. I always buy what makes you happy. Um, but yeah, but it is really interesting though. Coming back to um, again, some of those guys out there who just like think that the Invicta fans get their rough feathers ruffled. Just really interesting. I don't really believe that. I feel like people who like Invicta watches, if feathers are getting ruffled, it's usually when somebody's trying to put down something that we like, right? And even with me too, it's really odd. Like people still refer to me as like the Invicta guy, and it's odd because if you go looking for Invicta watch reviews, you generally don't find me anymore, right? I mean, you have to kind of look for my content, and that's unfortunately part of the YouTube algorithm. You'll have the content that shows up is the big time watch channels, and a lot of those videos about Invicta are unfortunately putting the brand down. So it definitely I think hurts the brand, and I can't tell you guys enough how many people say, "Hey, I watched your video on Invicta and it made me want to buy the brand and try it. And I can't believe the quality. I'm so happy. I want to get more now. And that's really, if we say about Invicta, you could almost say about any watch I review because you're going to find it's pretty much the same quality across the board. Always little nuances here and there, but I mean, they're all really nice and they're all great quality. And even guys that I enjoy to to watch. It's interesting how I just feel like a lot of people really make mountains out of molehills. Even some guys that I again enjoy watching are reasonable people. They just like talk about quality at a different level than I do, where they'll compare like an Invicta to like um, I don't know, like an Oris or something like that, and they'll tell you how like I mean, I personally can't tell any difference in quality between, um, you know, well, here, let me just make this comparison. If we take my red Pro Diver, right? Even there's Pro Divers and Pro Divers. If we take your standard $65 Pro Diver with the NH35 movement, you get on Amazon or Invicta stores or wherever, that watch is a cut above the level quality that I have with my red Invicta Pro Diver. The Invicta Red Pro Diver just feels a little bit tinnier as opposed to that the other variation of that watch, right? And that probably is because of the automatic movement in there. It just adds a little weight to the watch in that particular, Amazon version I'm talking about. But if we compare like the Pro Diver to my Aqua Dive or my Aqua Sea Deep Marine 2, right? There's different price points on those watches, 2,800 bucks versus $65, right? But there is a difference in quality. Like it's not insane, but there is a difference. The other like the Aqua Dive and the Aqua Sea watch, it just feels a little bit more robust, a little bit tighter bezel, a milled clasp. But as far as like the overall quality, they're all three are awesome watches. And I don't think that anybody would get the Aqua Sea watch and compare it to the Pro Diver and say, you know, this really makes the Pro Diver feel like a piece of shit. This is not the case. It just makes it feel just there's a little bit of a difference there, right? But it's not what again, same old argument back in people talking about Rolex comparing to these other affordable watches, saying that they're oh man, it's a shitter, it's just like it's just ridiculous. And again, when we compare other guys on YouTube reviewing these watches, for me, it really is unfortunate. I show up under Nubeo now, like I'm the main dude under Nubeo branding, but when you search for Invicta, I have so many Invicta videos, and I'm gonna come back and just start re-reviewing. I just feel like that keyword when I started reviewing Invicta watches or Invicta watch reviews was I kind of coined that keyword for a long time. Like that was just under my channel. There wasn't many people reviewing them. And now, YouTube has become a lot bigger. There's a lot more folks reviewing everything now and a lot more channels reviewing Invicta. And so when that happens, it's a competition. And so even honestly, even some of the dudes that like I know are huge Invicta fans, none of us show up. You're gonna get like if we just go, just to give you guys an example. And remember, search results are gonna be different for everybody. But if we were to go to YouTube right now and Invicta watch reviews, here's what pops up. So at least from my page, the algorithm works differently for everybody. But here we have the Urban Gentry, right? Giving the Invicta Pro Diver again a good review. That's a good video. We have another guy, Mad Watch Collector, who just kind of came on the scene and just is blowing up. It always amazes me, like how people become successful on YouTube because I don't find him entertaining at all, But I mean, super way more popular on my channel. And then of course we have just one more watch. Again, I'm glad he's popping up because he'll give an honest review. But then we have the time teller. He's just shitting on the brand. There's me popping up under the live feed. Nico, this isn't even about Invicta watches. This is about Watch Collector Destroys Alpha M's collection. And this is kind of the mentality again with those. Whether you like that reviewer or not, that you shouldn't be destroying anybody's collection. Like, I mean, Alpha Male, I'm sure they've collaborated. I'm sure that was an agreed upon video, but it's like, give me a break. Like, who the fuck is Nico? Like, I don't give a shit what Nico likes. You should always like what you like, but it's like, who are you to go destroying anybody's collection? It's like if it's not a Rolex, like you don't get this the seal of approval. It's just comical to me. Um, Even like just when we're watch trying to capitalize on the keywords worse than Invicta and more expensive. He's going to insult a different brand, the Star King. Whereas like we've had knuckleheads like It's Constipated review a Star King and give it a good review. I've reviewed a Star King before, so Nico's super irritating. Then we have guys like Ben. I can't stand Ben's Watch Club. Time Teller again, just nothing but garbage. And again, going down the list, a time teller again, and then just random videos. And here's me popping up here, a couple videos here about the quality of Invicta. But like you keep going, and it's very difficult to show up now. And so for a guy who's like, oh man, kind of like what I did when I got involved in the Invicta brand, I want to look at watch reviews. So you have to specifically search for the watch you're looking for. So if you're hot for a specific brand or model, let's say Sub Aqua, my favorite Invicta. Invicta Sub Aqua Specialty. Who do you get? So cool. So I pop up under first two there. Three. Then we have Kevin James. I recognize that name. A couple shorts by me. So that's good. A lot of videos by me giving you the honest truth about these watches. And then let's check out like Invicta. This is where Invicta needs to send me watches to make some content because the new stuff comes out and I don't have any content. Gladiator watch. Let's see who we get. Gladiator. Invicta Gladiator watch. Let's see who shows up here. All right, so I show up there for my new female mid-size version Gladiator. That's good, but not a lot of views. People aren't really searching for that. Of course, we had the friggin' this scumbag. It's complicated reviewing the Gladiator, which is just a hate video. See what else we get. Invicta Sea Hunter. So GoPro Uzi. I'm not sure. I don't know who that is. It's constipated again. Few of my videos. That's good. Joe Rogan, and then a Nubeo video. So you get a little mix here, but at least some of the videos are showing up that are giving the brand the good name. What else do we get here? Pro Diver, forget it. You'll never rank under Pro Diver. You're always gonna get like the guys who are cutting down the brand. So let me see when we catch up here. Mr. Urban just said Trax NYC calls him out to a jeweler's fight all the time. Who's that? Who's Trax NYC? I've heard of that before. A jeweler fight. It's funny. Trax NYC. I know they have a lot of iced out stuff. Remember like the Freeze diamond watches, Joe Rodeo? That was back in like the Jacob days. I know they're still in business, but man, again, the diamond watches are super cool, but for what you pay for them, you're really getting kind of an inferior watch. But you're getting the ice, man. Those Freeze diamond watches were big pimping, man. I still am into that. No matter how old I get, I'm still into the iced out stuff. Robert just said, I like the Nubeo watches. Thanks for the link. Yeah, man. Robert, brother, pick up that watch. It's on sale. That's a great price for that. And you know that goes. Like those once you're sold out, they're gonna be gone. But oh, Mr. Urban, I'm sorry, man. I forget, man, especially now, man, this COVID. But he said I met you on iced out Jacob watches on AIM. AIM, yes. AOL Instant Messenger. That kind of indicates me and Mr. Urban's age. Some of you folks probably like, what? What is that? But no, I don't. I think most of us are probably in the same age category. But yeah, man, I kind of forget that, but I'm sure you told me that before. Yeah, man, I don't even use AIM anymore. I miss AIM. That was awesome. We see people pop up there and good stuff. Now I guess we use Instagram, right? I wish YouTube had more of a social platform. That would be really cool. YouTube should really kind of branch off and just add like more of a social area there, because then I can get rid of like Instagram and get rid of friggin' Facebook pages and that kind of nonsense. But yeah, like what else? I mean, what's another Invicta? What's another one? Helios. That's on my list. It's actually in my shopping cart. um, yeah, a few Invicta Helios watches. Not much though, but that's kind of one of those models that didn't really search volume is pretty low, huge competition. So again, Invicta, it's unfortunately what happens with a lot of times it's just like when I put up a homage video on Rolex or one of the Paganis or something like that. Anytime you throw the word Rolex in there, you get a lot more views. Or anything luxury. It just seems like people really gravitate towards those brands. They really do. I mean, they're popular brands, and we go looking at like, for instance, like Pagani. I'll give you like the Invicta one I put up, right? Gladiator, sick watch, right? 570 views. When we go to the new Pagani watch, how many views I got on this so far? We got 1800 and it's still climbing every day. So really interesting. Pagani design watches is it's a pretty well searched term. But the big Panerai probably has a lot to do with why that video is ranking better, right? And that's just because I guess people, I don't know, I guess people just really like that stuff. Panerai homage watches, and yeah, so kind of is what it is. But yeah, Mr. Urban said good old days. Yeah, man, for sure. Those Jacob watches, I should come back and do a review. I've done a review of the Jacob watches before, but I have I think I think two or three of those watches left. I don't ever wear them because they're just kind of like part of the collection. But man, they're awesome. Jacob Watches was one of those brands that just really, I think, revolutionized the watch industry. Like, Jacob was the guy who came up in my opinion, a watch that was like big diver style, like big. Because when we think of, I don't mean like Rolex diver, I mean like Russian diver style watches are traditionally huge. They're big. And he took like that huge size and then made it blinged out, iced out, and hip hop. And I think with the colors, I think just having it just that watch was for me kind of like my gateway watch, to really get involved in collecting. And I remember wearing that stuff to the clubs, and just people would see these huge watches. And back then, when you're younger and you're doing that, at least when I was younger, you're all about showboating. I'm sure people still do that, of course, but showboating, and you just being flashy and stylish, and go hit up the mall before when that Friday would you go in club Saturday, you got to hit the mall Friday with your boys, go check out the Mr. Rags and and Zoomies, and get your new outfit for the club, and then get your groove on. Pretty fun stuff back in the day, right? But I don't, I don't I leave back in the day. That's still, fun times, but those days are over for me. But that doesn't mean I still, you guys know I love the watches. It's a lot of fun to collect, and yeah, it gets a little tough though sometimes. I on my wish list, it's in my cart, but me, I generally won't buy a watch unless I have so many now. I'll sell a watch that I don't really wear much anymore, right? Or just one that I it wasn't really. Maybe somebody sent it to me and it's not my thing. And so I have a few things on eBay right now. So if I sell those, I'm gonna get the green and gold Helios. It's like on sale right now in Invicta stores for like 150. And I hate saying that because I don't want people to go buy it and have it sell out. Because I've been eyeballing a green and gold watch for a while. One was the Gladiator, and that one's gone. But the Helios is just on my radar, and I hope I can sell my other watches for like 150. But now it's like now with COVID missing work, I won't be buying anything. I'm just gonna buy it the other day, but I just like just wait on it. Yeah, I'm kind of a penny pincher right nowadays with watches, so it's got to be something I really. The price has got to be right. It's got to be something I've been eyeballing for a while. I'm up to like 280 watches, so it's there's a lot of like you can't even wear that many watches, so it's just a lot of watches just kind of sit in the safe and they don't get any wrist time, and also just because I forget about them. So for me to buy another watch, it's got to be something that really calls to me, and that Helios really does call to me. The green and gold, I've been wanting it for a while, and the price is right. So we'll just see. May pick it up, may not. I won't be picking it up unless I'd have to sell something else because we're missing work. I'm not just gonna go buy a watch. Like I gotta, right? It's a step in reverse here, right? I gotta recoup. Gotta make sure my lead is gonna be covered and all that stuff. So, which I don't think it will be. So, but anyway, do you guys have any more questions? I wanted to share these with you guys again. Again, we have the Nubeo Damascus steel, just a killer piece. I'm gonna throw this on right quick. Then I'm gonna close and get my Amazon package. Mr. Urban said, I enjoy watching your content, man. You present items well and you're very authentic. Thanks, man. Authenticity is key for me. If I don't know something, I'll tell you. But yeah, man, I just keep it real. I dig this stuff, and it's just fun to share it. I know you guys dig it too. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch and listen. Yeah, man, it's very humbling. Damascus. Let me throw this bad boy on the wrist. This is big pimping right here. Oh yeah. I wish you guys could see the loom shot, but I don't even know what it looks like. But again, when you click the link, look at the pictures, you'll see this whole bezel is infused with loom. So it's just the whole thing kind of like glows. It almost looks like there's like a green to it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, sweet. And then of course we got. I'm gonna go. I just want to go back to this Pagani too because this has just been a really enjoyable watch to wear recently. Look at that. Oh man, I love that bracelet. Aragon is now making a bracelet like this, and I mentioned it probably about a year ago. They've copied this Panerai bracelet for one of their watches. Pretty badass, right? Oh, Mr. Urban said, I'll be sure to use your links, man. I buy gifts in November for my family. I do appreciate that as always. I really do. Amazon, eBay, whatever, all the links are on my page here. So then of course we have the gold version. Just imagine this on a gold bracelet. But still on that black silicone, pretty sick, not gonna lie. Man. Wait till you guys see this on bracelet. I'm telling you, this is gonna be a game changer. The only thing I complain about Nubeo sometimes is when they do a watch, and that's just my opinion, right? But when they do a watch, I just wish they made some bracelet variations. Like you can't, like they make a lot of their watches on silicone or on rubber, and you just can't buy like a Nubeo bracelet. Like they should. Like Aragon's very smart in that regard. You can buy several different Aragon bracelets that are featured on a lot of their different watches. So if you have a watch that you bought from them and you're like, oh man, I changed my mind, I want to put some bracelet, you can do it. Nubeo should do like a shark mesh, or do just one of their genuine Nubeo bracelets. Most of their watches are 24, 26 millimeter lug width. So doing that would really, they would make more money on the bracelets because most people who are going to buy like this watch, I mean, I totally dig it, but on gold bracelet, forget about it. Forget about it. That'd be awesome. All right, and then the tourbillon. Oh man, look at this guy. You can kind of focus in a little bit there. Look at that bad boy. Look at the tourbillon spinning. Look at it. Look at it. Man. And this one here, I forgot to mention. Excuse me, guys. Man. um, this one here is the. And even when I go through their website, I'm always like, do I have that? I'm just it's always every time I go through their website, I always reach back out and say, hey, do you have this in stock? And they're like, no. I'm like, shit. Man, they have the messenger tourbillon. It's pretty badass, dude. Okay, so this one here is called Black Rose. It's the Manta, and I've reviewed several different Mantas from blue versions, the yellow mother of pearl face versions, but the tourbillon, again, they have it with the gold the gold bezel, black case. The silver was nice too, the ice white, and I totally dig that too. And that's more what I would more gravitate towards. But just because this watch is a tourbillon and it's all skeletonized, I really want it to pop. And I think with the black, it just really makes the movement stand out. And this domed sapphire crystal, it almost has kind of like a cyclops effects to it. Very cool looking. Mr. Urban said, crazy how we get tourbillon movements now. Used to be preserved for extremely rich. Yeah, man. Tourbillon movements used to be just like untouchable. And now, why is that? Because modern machining, modern manufacturing, the Chinese are making things that are insanely good for a minimal cost. And you can imagine the markup. This is not this is like the people who buy a tourbillon, you have to be a watch guy, and for the most part, because most people are not. They're going to look at this and compare it to a skeletonized face and just say, "Oh, it's skeletonized." It doesn't really. You have to know and be kind of into watches to appreciate the tourbillon. So, I mean, I dig it. I totally dig it. But would I got this for free, of course, right? But would I spend the money on it? Maybe if I was a little more well off, I might. But for me to spend that kind of money on a watch, again, it's really got to call to me. And this does, and I'm glad I have the collaboration agreement with them. But it is a lot of money to spend regardless. And there are people who definitely make a lot of money, and if you do and you look at $3,000 as not a big deal, then great. But here's kind of where I'm at, and here's kind of where I'm at, so you guys know where I'm coming from. I have a lot of watches, and I don't get me wrong, like my age locker watch that I have, I sold that sucker on eBay because as beautiful as it is, it's a dress watch, right? And a dress watch is not one that I wear very often, right? And I have like a lot of Sterlings that are dress style watches. I've had some beautiful value Alexanders, and I just over the years I sold them because I just never. I'm always gravitating more towards this with the bracelet. But when I sold that age locker, I think I got like $900 for it, which is great. The person it was brand new, not worn. Retail on it was like 12. Guy saved a little money, loves it, very happy. But here's where I'm at. I've been wanting a chopper for a very long time. And I sold my motorcycle back in like 2016, 2017. It was a brand new, I got it in '05 ZX6 titanium finish, which is like, it was like a champagne, like a matte finish titanium. They called it titanium. I thought it was more like a champagne, but it was all matte finish. I debadged it. I put on a laser extreme exhaust, undertail, triple pipes, looked like an MV Agusta. I put in the flush mounted LED blinkers, integrated LED tail light, custom plate bracket made. What else did I do to it? Tinted the windshield. So point is, awesome bike, right? But I just never. I'm not a guy who likes to drive or speed, right? I really take my time. I'm not one. Driving a vehicle is a privilege, and I'm not one to try to jeopardize that privilege. And when you drive nice cars, I'm not saying I'm rolling no Benz or anything like that, but my cars are very clean. I've taken really great care of them, and I like them as much now as when I got them 20 years ago, some of them, right? Like my Honda. I'm not doing anything to jeopardize ruining the car, whether it's hurting the wheels that are discontinued on like my Solara or this is not my style. I like to take my time, drive slow. And a chopper is definitely way more my thing. And especially after watching American Chopper these last several days of being sick, I've forgotten how much I want one. So no time soon. Point mentioning that I get my hands on a watch that I could sell for $2,000. May have to do that down the road. I'm not really sure. It's probably not going to be this one. It's probably not going to be the other Tourbillon, but like you guys know, some of the watches that even a couple of the Invictas that I bought years ago, I didn't wear. I threw on eBay, put the money towards another gun. So at some point, I do feel like I'm gonna get a chopper in one point. I'm keep that between me and myself, not tell the folks because they don't want me on a motorcycle again. But it's a different kind of ride, and you can get choppers nowadays. Some of the big dogs for like if you're willing to travel around the country when the time comes, that's what I'll do. You can get. I saw a beautiful one. It may not be the exact color you want, but and even this is a little bit outside the box to me. Fluorescent orange with neon flames, really loud. But man, it was like 12. I mean, I watched some guy on YouTube the other day. He ended up buying an Orange County chopper. The guy wanted 15. He offered him 8. Didn't hear from the guy for like a week, and then a week later, the guy came back and said, "Yep, I'll take it." So I'm kind of looking at that like under 10 price range when the time's right, and it's definitely something I want to get my hands on someday. Where the hell I want to put it, I don't know. My garage is friggin' maxed. But anyway, we'll see what the future holds. But that would be pretty badass. So that's kind of the point mentioning that is when we think about what's going to bring me more happiness, wearing a $15,000 Rolex on my wrist because I'm a watch collector and a watch guy, or wearing my $99 Invicta or Pagani and having a chromed out chopper in my garage. That's a very easy question to answer for me. So, but anyway, guys, I do appreciate you folks taking the time to check out these Nubeo videos. I'm hoping other people will find this video after the fact. And if you are in the market for checking out Nubeo or you haven't checked out the brand before, awesome brand, space themed and ocean themed, depending on the model. And I know you folks you guys or anybody who may stumble upon this video will absolutely love the brand if you give them a chance. And that can be said with many different brands. But check them out. If you want this watch, Damascus, go find me another watch made in Damascus. I don't think anybody does it. So definitely a very industrial, very edgy designed watch. And for $329, man, get it while you can. That price is not going to last. Damascus, forget about it. Never seen anywhere. Even Invicta hasn't done Damascus, but I can guarantee you, after Nubeo's done it, I think you'll start to see Damascus being done in watches. So, thanks for watching, guys. As always, I appreciate you folks taking the time to pop in. Let me just catch up here with Mr. Urban. He just said he said, same with heated seats. Bentley's had them now. Everybody has heated seats. I have heated seats. Fuck on it. I don't even use them. Pharrell used to say, the tourbillon turns me on. I like that. It is raps. And then, of course, he said good stream. So, yeah, guys, appreciate it. Appreciate you guys taking time to watch. And if I can help you in any way whatsoever, by all means, reach out. You guys got my email, so you know how to find me. Have a good evening. I'm going to go lay down and rest, and you guys take care.